In this story, you'll witness a husband's cold and calculated revenge as he silently watches his cheating wife's world collapse, one message at a time. Have you ever seen the slow-motion collapse of someone's world? The irony isn't lost on me. I'm sitting in my parked car across from LeBlanc, the most expensive restaurant in town, and I can see my wife Jessica sitting with her lover Howard through the large windows. She's wearing the black dress I got her for our anniversary last month. Like the Li she's been living, her laughter reverberates across the restaurant, polished and flawless. I check my phone. 8:15 p.m. Her meticulously built house of cards will soon collapse, but for now I watch as everything gets put in action. Jessica usually looks amazing when she meets him, and tonight is no exception. Her black hair falls in lovely waves, catching the warm restaurant lighting, and she's grinning that particular smile I was certain was just for me. My finger hovers over the submit button as Howard leans in close, likely whispering something witty. His pricey watch, which is a gift from his wife but Jessica is unaware of it yet, catches the light. The message is straightforward. Enjoy this evening as it won't be here for long. I watch as her phone buzzes on the table. Did you notice the little fleeting break in her flawless exterior? I notice the first glimmer of fear in her eyes as she reads the message. Howard is too preoccupied to notice. Jessica's relatives, including her uncle, cousin, and sister, sit at a table nearby. They haven't spoken or even looked at her directly, but they are there for a reason, all part of my plan. And Charming, enmeshed in his own web of lies, is unaware that his world is about to collapse as he watches the tremor in her hand as she puts down her phone. Jessica's mask slips a bit further as she looks around anxiously, her wine glass trembling a little as she lifts it to her lips. I sent another message. Did you really believe no one would find out about this? I'm going to teach my wife exactly what happens when you mistake my patience for weakness. You want to know how this all began? I found out about their affair, and most importantly, I planned the perfect revenge that would destroy not just their relationship, but their entire worlds. The evening has barely begun, and already she's unraveling just as I planned. You see, revenge isn't about dramatic confrontations or heated arguments, but rather about watching someone drown in their own lies, one carefully planned moment at a time. It all started with a scent. A month ago, Jessica came home late from what she claimed to be a dinner with friends. The clock read 11:45 p.m., but something was different when she leaned in to kiss me goodnight. I noticed that she was wearing an unfamiliar, pricey, and distinctly masculine cologne. Let me tell you how I thought my cheating wife was safe before revealing everything. Most men would have burst there, demanded answers, and made a scene. But I'm not most men. If I'm not mistaken, I know since I've thought about buying Hermes once but didn't, and the aroma stayed on my wife's clothes. One thing I learned from my 20 years in corporate law is that patience shows what emotion hides. So I just kissed her back and watched her vanish into our bathroom. That night, I lay awake with my mind racing, thinking about 6 years of marriage, innumerable promises, and dreams of starting a family, all of which could be undone by an offensive smell instead of confronting her. Jessica thought she was being clever, so she deleted her messages, took calls in a different room, and always kept her phone face down. However, she missed the little things, like how she would smile at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking, how she started dressing up for client meetings that didn't show up on her work calendar, and the extra hour at the gym that her fitness app didn't record. I started keeping a log about it. Every discovery was a knife twist, but I kept my cool and played the part of the trusting husband flawlessly. I hired a private investigator not because I needed proof, but because I needed details. Tuesday at 7:00 p.m., I had dinner with Sarah, but I posted pictures from a family dinner across town from Friday at 2 p.m., but her office confirmed no meetings were scheduled. Little I's piled up like evidence in a case I never wanted to build. Then came the credit card statements, El Blanc restaurant, uptown boutiques, and a hotel bar. Within days, Howard's name surfaced. I am a corporate lawyer, but because of his reputation for taking chances, I married a real estate mogul's daughter and found out that he had more to lose than Jessica. I knew the betrayal stung, but it also made me more calculating and cold-hearted. Accuracy. They wanted to play games, which is fine, but I'd show them what a genuine player could do. As I gathered evidence, a plan started to take shape. Not only to reveal their affair, but to completely destroy their world in a single, well-planned evening. Mike, one evening, Jessica's voice interrupted my plans. Everything was well, but recently you seem distant. I grinned at her secret signals just as she did. The hardest part wasn't learning about the affair. Instead, I spent weeks perfecting the role of the unaware husband and laying out the pieces of my retaliation like a chess master, knowing that timing would be crucial. "Everything's perfect," I replied, "and soon it would be, because revenge, like justice, is best served cold." Since her parents passed away, her Uncle James had been like a father to her. One morning, I asked him over for coffee and brought a thick manila folder. "I wish I didn't have to show you this," I began, sliding pictures across the table. Jessica and Howard are entering text message logs for hotel and restaurant receipts. As he looked over each piece of evidence, her uncle's hands shook. "She's following her mother's footsteps," he mumbled in a disappointed voice. "I need your help, since Jessica's mother ruined their family with an heir years ago, and history was repeating itself." I told him not to preserve our marriage, which was doomed, but to teach her that her actions had consequences. I explained my strategy while observing his face change from one of rage to comprehension, and her uncle made the calls in a matter of hours. Jessica's closest relatives were on board, including her sister Emma, cousin David, and his wife. They knew exactly what their responsibilities were and didn't engage in any confrontational drama. Their being at LeBlanc tonight was more heartbreaking than any words. Howard's wife, Scarlett, was more difficult to deal with. Instead of going straight to her, I supplied evidence of not only my affair with Jessica, but also with 3 other people in an anonymous manner. I found that Charlotte was in charge of their marriage's finances. Howard's work and way of life were entirely dependent on her family's connections. The day before the scene at the restaurant, I went to our apartment's leasing office and, within an hour, I had termination papers in hand, effective immediately. The property manager was especially understanding after I brought up the subject of infidelity that evening. I watched Jessica pack for an overnight business trip tomorrow, and when I casually asked, "Don't wait up," she lied and said, "Don't wait up." I pulled her close and kissed her forehead where the black dress I bought you looked beautiful in it, and she smiled, feeling guilty and excited. I suggested that she should go, and she walked away. I sent the last text confirming dinner reservations at LeBlanc, and they arrived tomorrow morning to pick up the boxes I had already packed. Everything was set up for tomorrow, and Jessica would discover that sometimes the most brutal retribution isn't dealt in anger. I saw Jessica's immaculately manicured fingers quiver a little as she checked her phone for the umpteenth time through the restaurant window. Her entire body tensed up as I sent her the first message. The truth always comes out, doesn't it? Howard didn't realize his own wife was going to ruin him as he was in the middle of delivering a narrative about his most recent court victory. When Jessica spotted her uncle, James, sister Emma, cousin David, and his wife seated 3 tables away with their faces covered in despair, the second message on her phone said, "Look to your left." Family always comes first. Jessica had to put down the wine glass she was holding because it was shaking so much. "Everything okay, beautiful?" Howard said, unaware of the storm that was building around him. "Did you truly believe that no one would learn about the hotel meetings?" A third message buzzed. Jessica's face turned pale as she looked at her family once again, but they purposefully turned their heads away because the quiet was more terrible than any yelling match could have been. The background noise from the restaurant appeared to mock the tension as they clinked glasses and laughed casually, and Jess's world started to fall apart. After meticulously arranging each item, Howard's wife's message on his buzzing phone said to simply check his email. "In 20 minutes, I want you home." I saw his expression shift as he opened his email, which contained pictures, hotel receipts, and messages from all of his mistresses. including Jessica. His expertly constructed deception was coming undone, and I had to leave. Howard stumbled and stood up. Howard waited, but he was already throwing money on the table without even looking at her as he practically ran from the restaurant. My next message made her phone light up, and it looked like your knight in shining armor, just abandoned ship. The confident lawyer was gone, replaced by a panicked man about to lose everything. Jessica reached for his hand, confused and afraid. Together, Jessica's family stood up, their chairs scraping the floor as they slowly passed her table. Their silence was more profound than words could ever express for her sister. Emma stopped for a while and set a little envelope next to Jessica's wine glass. Inside was a picture of Jessica and Howard that I had given them, showing them cuddling outside that pricey hotel. Her hands trembled so much after my last message that she nearly dropped her phone. Your boxes are packed through the window, so don't bother returning home. Her flawless makeup was marred by tears as she struggled with her purse, barely able to sign the check back, and tried phoning Howard directly to voicemail, but his number was already blocked. I watched as reality smashed down around her, shattering the lovely mask she had worn for months. As I drove away from the restaurant, I saw her in my rearview mirror. She was a strong, confident woman who thought she could play me for a fool, but now she was broken and alone. The perfect revenge isn't served hot with anger and violence, it's served ice-cold with precision and patience. I sent her one last text before I drove away, saying, "The lease is terminated. You have until tomorrow to collect your belongings." Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. It really means a lot.